Hello, this is a quick demo of intents and a tutorial on how to use them properly. Okay, so this is just a sample intent activity and an app, and there's no real functionality here. So in the XML, we simply have three buttons that test our code. The first button is called go to the next activity. As you see, we have two activities over here, main activity and main 2 activity. The second button is email someone, and the third button is SMS someone. And their IDs are activity underscore button, email underscore button, and SMS underscore button. Okay, let's go to the code. So in main activity, first of all, we declare and initialize these buttons right over here and here, and then we set on-click listeners for them. Okay, so an intent has various uses. Um, for one, it could be used to switch between activities, so to move between one screen, for example, your starting screen and another screen on your app. So the way you do that is by first defining an intent. So this is the declaration. You say intent and then call it something. Here it's just called intent. Equals new intent, and then you just put a bracket and then you write the current activity you're on, which in this case is main activity, and then we also added dot this, and then we put a comma, and then we say the target activity, which in this case is main 2 activity, and then we say dot class. And then after you define what the intent is, you actually execute it or you run it by this command, which is start activity intent. Okay, so now let's go to the email button one. So on this one, all we do is run the compose email method, which I'll get to in just a second, and we pass a string array as one of the parameters. So there's 3 different parameters to this method. The first one is the string array of email addresses. So here I have some sample email addresses. The second one is the subject of the email, what you want the subject to be, and the third one is the actual body. So, and that's for the compose email method, as you see over here. As you saw, there are 3 parameters that are right over here. And yeah, so in this method, again, we first define an intent. So intent equals new intent, and then this time, instead of putting this activity and the target activity, there's a special type of intent called intent.action send. So intents can be used for various purposes, including calling someone from the phone, composing an SMS message, composing an email message, email as we're doing right now, going to another activity, and there's several other uses which can be found on the official Android developer site. But so over here we simply set the type of intent to action underscore send. Okay, and then we set the type of the intent, and this just sets it to a mime variable. You don't need to worry about this, just simply add this line. And then after that we put an extra line along with the intent. So what this means is we're rather than simply making the intent this, we're also adding some data that will be communicated or transferred along with the intent. So in this case, what we want to add are these things, right? Which are the email addresses, the subject, and the body. So if you didn't actually have any of these things, what the app would do is if you click on the button, it would just go to an email app and it would just draft a new email, and there wouldn't be any recipients or a subject or a text though. So it would just be an empty email. So this allows us to edit that data. So first we add an extra email addresses or a bunch of extra email addresses, and that's through this. So in the set on click listener, we pass this. We pass this as the string array. So address here, string address here, is referring to this, or any other time we call it, will be referring to that string array, right? So then we add this here, which is address. So what we're saying is basically add this extra thing, which is an email address, and these are the actual email addresses. In the same way, I want to add an extra subject, and this is the subject, which is in this case hello. And then the final one, put extra intent dot extra text, which is referring to the body, and then we add the body, which in this case is this is a nice email. Okay, and then again, as we did before, we simply execute start activity intent, and then it sends it to the person, to the recipients. Okay, and finally we have composing an SMS message. So here we simply run the message, and so this we pass only one parameter here, which is the message itself. So right now I've set the app to send it to one predetermined number. However, we can change this easily simply by adding another string parameter and then making this SMS2, and then we concat the strings together, which would be very very simple to do. So here we simply define the number, and we define the type, the what type of intent we're doing. So it's just an SMS2, and then again intent equals new intent, and this time it's action underscore send to, and this URI is some extra data that is passed along, which in this case is our phone number that's going to be sent to. And then we, again, as we did in the email, we add extra data, which is the body of the SMS, and it is simply the message, which is, hey, what a nice message. And then again, we start activity. So that was it. That was a basic tutorial of some common intents, and thank you.